Hello, everybody. Welcome to Living 4D. Today, we're going to talk about going from pain to purpose with my buddy Chervin Jafarieh, the founder of Cymbiotika. Welcome back, Chervin.
It's good to be back on. I'm excited to have this conversation. It's not a day goes by that I'm not getting, 20, 30 messages. When are you and Paul going to get back on? I
Oh,
keep
good.
replaying your podcasts, and
Cool.
I have a private Telegram room, about 5,000 people in there. And these are all people that are, they're showing up. There's no being anonymous in there. It's like you got to contribute, you got to show up.
Mm.
And they're a big fan of ours, and they're a big fan of our collaboration and just how we can organically communicate.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
We got some organic for you today. What have you been up to since I last saw you? I mean, you've been moving all over the place, growing your business, moving your house. What's up?
It's been a lot of movement in the last 12 months. A lot of excitement, a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
The discipline is paying off, the practice is paying off. And, as cliche as it sounds, but living in gratitude has really opened up the doors of getting outside of yourself
Yes.
and really focused on what it is that I have in my life and the opportunities I've had and the love that I've received, not only from my family and friends, but just from the collective as well. And that's inspired me over the last 12 months in particular. I've actually been working on Cymbiotika 3.0. I've been in ideation phase for the last 9 months in particular.
3.0 meaning the next generation of products.
Next generation of products, next level on every area that that Cymbiotika is evolving into, and not only unique to formulations, but just how we approach everything in our day to day, and it's really unique and beautiful to see so many individuals within our organization jumping in, empowering themselves, stepping into their inner authority. And I've almost become the employee.
Well,
Yeah,
it's good that you have employees that'll do that because those are very hard people to find these days.
it really is. And my business partner, Shahab, my CEO, he's built an environment internally within Cymbiotika that makes everyone accountable, but accountable in a place where we want them to go the extra line. We want them to step outside of their comfort zone, just like our health. We know hormesis, that which does not kill you makes you stronger. It's the same thing within organization. We don't want people getting too comfortable, but we also don't want them living in stress. And this has created a massive upsurge in everything that we're doing. We've won Best Place to Work 3 years in a row in San Diego. We've been recognized nationally. We made it on the Inc. 5,000 fastest growing companies in the world twice now.
Wow.
And that's just an accolade that shows how much hard work is being put and how much critical thinking is being done on every single aspect of Cymbiotika. And as I've always said before, Cymbiotika is not a supplement company. We are a movement. We are a collective. We're a bunch of people that are honoring ourselves and not waiting for someone to come save us. We're taking the power back into our own hands. And it's really beautiful to witness and just be one part of it. I used to, when I started the company, I was everything.
Yeah.
And then as the years have gone by, we're entering our 5th year now. I'm really just one angle on a really well put together system. And that's an honor. And I just want to give so much love, reverence to the team. If you guys are listening to this right now, which I know you are, thank you from the bottom of my heart. We're just getting started.
What would you describe the movement as?
The movement is based on knowledge.
Yeah.
It's information. And it's the same thing with, you and I were just rapping about it offline.
Yeah.
People are signing up to go into higher levels of education, and they're deciding to take on the Chek Institute and take on your courses. There is a barrier of entry because you have to light your own fire under your ass to be able to commit and have the discipline and the wherewithal to make that commitment. A lot of people, they don't want to commit to anything.
Yes.
Why is that? Well, they weren't built that way. They weren't given the tools at an early age. It's a lot easier to sit back and just kind of pick apart a few things. It's a lot more convenient. And so it's the same thing with your health. Someone just wants someone to come and give them instant gratification, give them a pill, give them this, give them that. You can see it with all the aesthetic stuff, all this kind of stuff. But the the real gratification and the real, I would say, building of faculties as a Steiner concept is in doing the work and loving it and knowing what you're doing. And so that's what I would say is what Cymbiotika is all about. I always tell people, you can take our magnesium L-threonate and feel less stress, and it tastes good, and it says magnesium on it. But how many people take the time to research that threonic acid was developed at MIT, and they were able to figure out how to cross the blood-brain barrier at a much faster clip and at a much higher assimilation in the brain cavity with that particular form of molecule attached to the magnesium? And by learning that, by understanding that, now that product becomes so much more efficacious. Now that product becomes of much more value. And now you're going to have the discipline to say, you know what, this is going to be part of my life for the next X amount of years. And I'm committed to it because I know that this is what it's doing to me. That's what Cymbiotika is. We make complicated formulas. We don't just make the basic 1s and 2s. And that energy has literally filtered down and dropped into every different department in Cymbiotika. And we do everything in-house. We don't outsource anything. We brought in our marketing in-house. We brought in our ideation in-house. We brought in our customer service in-house. And being a California resident and a California business owner,
that's expensive.
It's expensive. It's crazy. We give our people everything. They have it all. They have every aspect of what they should be deserved because they're bringing it back. We brought our fulfillment in-house. Everything is in-house. And that is a direct mirror to what Cymbiotika stood for from its inception. And it's really like, it's a story for people to recognize that you can make shit happen.
Yeah.
It's not impossible.
It's tribe building.
The friends, the network, the amount of respect and love and honor that I've received along this path, that has been the true value.
Yeah.
And we've bootstrapped this company, and I'm going to be pretty blatant and clear here. My partner and I, we bootstrapped this. We don't draw big salaries. Everything's gone back into the company. This is for us finding a way to plug every hole that we can in the ecosystems that we're involved with. And so we're coming out with children's line. We have pet products on the way. We have home line products. It's like, we know we should get nutrition in us, but what's the poison that's around us? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think there's a need for good nutrition for kids.
Absolutely.
The problem with with a lot of the nutritional supplements is most people aren't aware that adult doses can be too high for kids. And then, as you know, better than most, is that a lot of the stuff that people are giving their kids is really low quality garbage.
It's unbelievable. How you do anything is how you do everything. And that's important to really, to highlight, is that we trust. We tend to trust a lot. Like, there's certain things that mankind just does not trust, but we trust with things of that nature. And we expect people to be, living benevolently and really wanting to produce and help people. But the fact of the matter is, we're in a rat race. We have all kinds of actors getting involved in health and wellness. We have the tech world coming in.
Yes.
You saw it in the CBD thing. It's like everybody raced to the bottom to get in there and to create marginalized stuff. And that really is a dangerous game that we're playing, especially with children, especially with, prenatal stuff, especially with while a mother is carrying and all that kind of stuff. Everything counts. We're already getting blitzed by every kind of toxin out there, from, EMFs to what's in the air to what's in the soil. I can go on and on. We've talked about this ad nauseum.
Yeah, I read an article recently. I think it might have been on the Weston A. Price newsletter or Children's Health Defense, but I think they tested the blood of newborns and found over 129 toxic chemicals in them right out of the womb.
Absolutely.
That's
heavy metals.
Serious shit, man.
Heavy metals, plastics. It's infiltrated everything. It's all around us.
Yeah.
It's in the cars. It's on the streets. It's in the waterways. It's in your shower. You can't run away from it. We know that Chips Ahoy and Doritos aren't good for you, but we didn't know that XYZ could be a problem as well. And look, I don't want to freak everyone out, but it's just another perspective to have that, we have to be aware, and we can't
Mm-hmm.
live ignorant, because when we're living ignorant, that thing catches up to us like a tidal wave,
Yeah.
and it's like a pressure cooker.
The other thing too about that is if you haven't oriented yourself to what real health is and what quality supplementation is, then when the ignorance catches up to you and you get some kind of a scary diagnosis, be it cancer or some kind of an illness, you don't have the understanding at that point of what you can do for yourself that's non-invasive, and so you're much more susceptible to the radiation, cutting, burning, toxic shit, and you're much more likely to go back to using more of the same low quality supplementation that you were using in the first place.
Yeah, it's like it's the paradox is real, right? It reminds me of problem, reaction, solution.
Yeah.
You and I have talked about problems in the world.
Yeah.
It could be an economic collapse, it could be a terrorist attack. There's
Yeah.
a reaction, then they provide a solution. It's the same thing with your health. You have a problem, and when you're in desperate times and you're in fear and you're worrying about your life, maybe it's not cancer, maybe it's an autoimmune.
I'm
Maybe,
not worried
yeah.
about terrorists. I'm worried
Yeah.
about our government. That's where the terrorists live. They've just taken the whole place over.
I know it's they're overdoing it, to say the least.
Yeah.
But it's for our protection. But our that was funny, huh?
Yeah, that was a good one. So we'll just poison all the soldiers and make sure you're well protected.
We're in the time. This is it.
Yeah.
We saw it. We're walking up here. We're talking about some of the sci-fi movies,
Yeah.
like Demolition Man and
Yeah.
RoboCop and Terminator 2. All of those things seem to be coming to a head.
Yeah.
And it's not in a movie anymore. It's in this holographic perspective. And just to finish off the health, I mean, it's shocking to me that people don't know what the liver does.
Yeah.
Okay, or what the gallbladder does, or what an appendix is, or what parasites do in the body.
Well, a lot of doctors don't know what an appendix does.
Of course
I hate
not.
to tell you.
They just rip it out of you. Right?
That's right. Yeah, they think it's an appendage.
Yeah.
A leftover.
Yeah, it's some kind of
Nature's screw up.
de-evolution.
Yeah. What or when did you kind of awaken to the fact that the health career or this sort of way of living was something that you felt was going to be the way you lived your life?
When I was 10.
10?
Yeah, I knew at an early age because of David Wolf.
Uh-huh.
He brought that whole new reality to me. Of course, he was extreme in his raw foodism, but he was showing me what the medical mafias were doing, what the system was doing, what the banking system was, the school systems, education, which all play their part to perfection in terms of, kind of subsidizing what and who we are, right?
Yeah.
And subsidizing the food systems.
Mhm.
And so I saw that at a pretty early age. I knew that. I was a kid that was, in the, in my friend's parents' kitchen, talking to them saying, you can't communicate with Johnny because you're giving him hormone-filled pasteurized milk. And he's having a reaction to it. And he's probably loaded with estrogens and other things that
steroid hormones.
And he can't properly communicate because of that. And I remember I was that 10-year-old, and half the parents loved me and half the parents hated me. They didn't want me back in their house. I was that kid. And so I always had that energy, and that brought me into the outer worlds of, some of the Waldorf education that I was doing in summer school programs. I went to Gateways, and I was, really taught about soil science, which I know that you're big on. And that there really isn't a difference between our microbiota and the biotics of soil, and how we've completely denatured and ruined our entire life force around us. So the food's shot. We know that.
Yeah,
and this is a subject that's been talked about 10 million times. We shouldn't be eating supplements. We should be getting it directly from our food. But the problem is that we're living in metropolitan areas. We're living in jungles. The population's out of control in certain areas, and people can't get clean, healthy, biodynamic food that's versatile, that's filled with nutrients, that's filled with bacteria.
They can get it. They just don't make the effort to get it, or they don't know any better.
Yeah, well, I think we do need to start heading towards an agrarian lifestyle.
Yeah.
And I think if we start getting to the subject of technology, corporatocracy, AI,
Yeah.
that one of the biggest FUs to all of that is everyone's starting to be learning tools of becoming agrarian and somewhat adaptable to live within their own ecosystem and closing that loop system.
It's gotta happen.
It has to happen. There's really no other way.
I think humanity is parting into two camps. Those that understand the principles of nature and the importance of protecting the ecosystem and the importance of protecting your own ecosystem to the best that you can, and those that are just lost, confused, and living on metaverse and are lining up to get their shots and whatever other crap they throw at them because, you know, their primary source of education is social media, which is really like a super dangerous way to go.
Absolutely. I mean, it started with mainstream news.
Yeah.
Then now it went to social media. Social media was supposed to be a way for us to communicate these ideas and concepts.
Yeah.
But that got infiltrated real quick. Just like digital currency just got infiltrated real quick. You know, it's almost like Trojan horses,
Yes.
right? I feel like we've been Trojan horse so many times, and we've been sold a bag of goods that this is going to make your life so convenient, that this is going to protect you from the bad guys, that this is the offering that we're making to you. And a majority of the people, they bought it.
Yeah.
And they've taught it to their children, and then they've taught it to their children. And now we're in that fourth, fifth generation of buying it from the 60s, 70s. We've got the baby boomers.
Yeah.
And so we're now seeing the consequence of generation lost.
Yeah. We're seeing people grow up that have no sense of connection to who and what they really are as its relationship to the earth or to the cosmos. They don't understand the natural principles of nature or farming or food, or, you know, they don't really understand. A good example is, you know, like when I was a kid, and any kid normally goes out in the dirt and puts dirt in their mouth, which is how they begin to inoculate themselves and know what's in the environment, so the immune system knows what it's got to protect itself against, but also to bring in microorganisms to help populate the gut and basically create an interface with the environment. But, you know, now the parents that do let their kids do that don't realize that there's Roundup and chemicals sprayed everywhere. So now they're inoculating their children's guts with death.
Well, they're nuking their children's guts.
Yeah.
Dilapidating any sort of balance.
Yeah.
And disconnecting the communication. And wouldn't you agree, at the end of the day, whether it's external or internal, it's the lack of communication, the synapses, the gut-brain axis, whatever we want to call it, that becomes the problem. I mean, a mom can have, 8 amalgams in her mouth and have no idea. She could be doing everything right and have no idea what that's doing, what that mercury's doing, to the baby in her womb.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And so the reason why I have such passion for this is because, number one, we've all gone through phases. I've been fucking pissed off, right? I went through serious anger when I was 10, 12, 13, 14, 15. I was pissed off. I was fighting at school. I was getting suspended. I got suspended from La Jolla High School at least 12, 15 times. I was angry. I was angry at the system. I knew what the system was telling us was a lie. And this isn't a conspiracy. I don't want to go, we're not zeitgeisting right now. This is just facts, and growing up as an Iranian born in America from a family that had to emigrate out of Iran because of a coup that was created by U.S. foreign policy and other layers of that, which we don't need to get into right now. It makes you feel something. And that pain and anger and the frustration I saw in my father's eyes of his fortune that he had built in Iran and my mom's family's fortune and how they had to start over, it really, really built my character epigenetically. I was able to evolve and turn a lot of that anger and frustration into something that was worthwhile, not for my sake, but for everyone around me. But I had to go through that gauntlet of anger. I mean, Paul, when I was 21, 22, 23, I was pretty angry,
You see that the soul often chooses a life where it comes into conflict and pain, because that lights a fire under it so that it knows that there's something that is meaningful to resolve. That's how we get pushed into the hero's journey. We either lay down and take the shot, take the pill, play dead, or we stand up and say, this isn't right, I got to do something about it. And that could be becoming a real doctor. It could be becoming a nutritionist, a therapist. It could be becoming a better educator. I mean, adversity sparks the soul into action.
Yeah.
And I think as long as there's a willingness, not only for the soul of the individual, but the parents in particular, to support that soul in its own quest, versus saying, oh, you shouldn't do that, you won't make any money, or that's not what our family, like parents railroading, or even educators railroading the student, and instead of inspiring them to go out into the world and make their mark. I think that's super important. Hello, everybody. I'm super excited to announce our new live show called PT 3.0 that will be available to you at youtube.com/Chek Institute. That's CHEK Institute. Each PT 3.0 episode will be offered every first and third Wednesday of the month and is a 30-minute live show designed specifically to help exercise professionals and anyone who wants to use exercise scientifically in their practices. The host of the show will be a Chek faculty member, a high-level practitioner, or an industry expert that is aligned with Chek principles, and each show offers us the following free bonus materials: a Q&A segment at the end of the episode, a downloadable reference guide to help audience members apply what they've learned. We call this PT 3.0 because the purpose of the show is to provide next-generation training to personal trainers and to help them evolve in their practice. PT 3.0 is a web show designed to provide 30 minutes of intense, essential training to personal trainers and strength coaches that will make an instant impact on their business and practice. This is not a webinar or a podcast, but a fully produced online show featuring a live host and high-quality footage of assessments, exercises, stretches, and program design, together with Q&A for targeted bite-sized education. Each episode will be highly focused, training, for example, one assessment or one program design technique or one stretch, etc. Each episode will be broadcast live on our YouTube channel, and the show is free. Hallelujah. Each episode will be recorded and available to you on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Chek Institute. And again, it's completely free. Subscribe to our YouTube channel for notification when each episode begins by going to youtube.com/Chek Institute. To see our upcoming episode schedule and to receive advanced notifications of all episodes, go to pt3.chekinstitute.com. Once again, to see our upcoming episode schedule and receive advanced notification for all episodes, go to pt3.chekinstitute.com. We hope you enjoy this live show. I'm curious, how are you managing yourself? Like, what's a sort of a daily thing that you do, or how do you keep yourself together so that you can still do the work you got to do, but still keep one foot in the world of balance and harmony and connection to things that matter for you as a person, not so much the business?
That's a great question. And yeah, I know how much you got on your plate. I've been around it for years now, and it's inspiring. And that's why I want to take the torch from you and put you on my back, brother.
All right.
It's one of those things you got to find balance, because when we get too militaristic with our life, and I can approach all the gadgets and all the biohacking and all that kind of stuff, measuring everything from HRV to one breath to one fart to this or that, it gets a little bit too much. And I think that takes away from our purity and our ability to really manifest happiness in this life. At the same time, there are non-negotiables, and that's just understanding physiology, right? And so what are the non-negotiables in my life? Well, number one, and this has been a new fad for me. Everyone knows I'm a big fan of intermittent fasting. It just works for me. I'm not saying it's for everyone. I'm not saying it's for every woman. I think there is a time and place for everything, but I'm not eating after 3 p.m. That has changed my energy levels. That has changed my sleep system. I am thriving with that new strategy.
That's what my Rainbow Warrior Justin's doing too.
Well, Justin knows what's up, because this is a major, major hack. So after 3 p.m., I'm not loading up on any calories, just hydration and salt and some minerals. I go to sleep every single night around 9 to 9:30. I don't have any digital around me unless I have blue blockers on after the sun falls.
Good.
I'm blazing a fire in my backyard every
Oh, yeah,
night,
good.
and my room is pitch dark,
Mm,
and it's at 65 degrees.
that's nice.
That is my perfect temperature.
Mm,
I rise every day with the sun around 5:15, 5:30, around that time. The sun's not making its full impact, but it's starting to light up.
mm-hmm.
I'm out on the sun. I'm out on the grass. I'm breathing it all in. I'm hydrating. Those are non-negotiables. Getting hit with the sun on that rise, that's a non-negotiable. That's helping me do 10 million things every single day.
Yeah.
That's helping me handle all the different communications that I got to handle and get
Mm-hmm.
deadlines done and do interviews and do product ideation and help be creative and help be supportive for my family,
Mm-hmm.
take care of my mother, take care of my sister, take care of my brother, take care of my cousin, talk to everybody in the office, and keep doing that same damn thing every single day. Without those rituals in place, forget about it. I'm burned out, and then I'm reaching for things that aren't good for me, and I'm doing things that are not good for me, and that's the slippery slope. So we got to have rituals in place. Those are my main staples.
Where's your exercise in that?
My exercise is all day long, so I'm not sitting down. I've made that a point where I'm not sitting down anymore. I realize it's easy to get sedentary, and the sedentary is causing a problem.
Yeah.
And so my exercise routine is pretty simple. So after I eat my main big breakfast, probably around 8:30, 9 a.m., I get to work. I'm working for about 2.5, 3 hours straight. Usually I set up all my appointments, all my calls, anything that I got to get through, my emails or anything like that, outside of anything that's emergency or anything like that.
Yeah.
Around 10:30, I take some of my products, B12, I take a glutathione, I take a creatine, this and that. Then I go hit the weights.
Okay,
So
good.
I do about 45 minutes to an hour of full body, full movement, squats, deads, cleans,
Functional training.
rows, some chest exercises, a lot of push-ups, a lot of core exercises, a lot of functional pattern movements. Then I go either in the infrared sauna or I jump in the cold plunge, either or. Sometimes I mix them up just depending on my vibe and energy. Then I have hiking trails, so I'm moving around. I get on the trail every day, at least 30 minutes.
Good.
Just move around, get the heartbeat going, sweat. If I run down to the beach, I'm doing sprints on the beach. I love sprinting. I've always been a sprinter, and there's something about turning your VO2 max on and going hard for 25, 30 seconds. All the endorphins releasing, everything, and the science is out. Sprinting might be one of the healthiest things we can do for longevity, for sexual health, for mental health, for physical, for just pains and stuff like that. I would say warm up into it. Don't just go. I was
going to say you got to be in good enough shape to sprint, or you'll just be paying someone like me money.
Exactly. So we gotta find our way there.
Yeah.
So
start slow and build up.
Start slow and build up, but momentum.
Yeah.
Right. Like you gotta start somewhere. And like that 600-pound guy that they had to take a forklift to get out of the house, he didn't just become 600 pounds overnight. Momentum got him there.
Yeah.
Right. And momentum can go any direction. And so start having wins. I always tell people like a small win here. Maybe listen to the 4D podcast. Listen to me and Paul's Wake the Fake Up podcast. These are wins you can do. And get real.
Yeah.
And that's like a Rosicrucian perspective too. Like the Rosicrucian perspective is evaluate your entire day before you go to bed, every action of that day. Reverse engineer from a different vantage point outside of your physical body and see how you reacted to stress. See who in your life is causing you stress. See how you're causing people stress in life. See what patterns you're doing every time something comes into your face. How do you handle that? And what are your turn tos? And how do you resolve things? Those evaluations, that's building inner faculties. That right there, I believe, is being the master magician of your own reality.
That's also a Sufi practice.
It is a Sufi practice. That's right.
You got your health care and all that. What do you do to get out of your head and disengage from the whole world show?
Meditation is a vague term, but I meditate in all things. I meditate when I'm studying. I meditate when I'm tending the garden. I'm meditating when I'm picking the fruit. I'm meditating whenever I have alone time, which is a lot. That's another thing, is that I've really valued my circle, and I brought my circle smaller, and the vision's gotten larger because of that. and it's not a selfish act. It's just, this is the time in my life right now where I can't hang out with everybody.
I teach I before we always. The only exception is an emergency. If you don't you can't love someone else more than you love yourself, and you can't do more for people than you have energy to give yourself.
5 billion%. And I was a habitual can't say no person.
That's
I
dangerous.
don't know what it was. I think it was my dad. And I saw it happen with him. All he did was give.
Yeah.
He just give to the point where it depleted him.
Yes.
And I kind of took that on. I almost felt if I wasn't doing this, I'm a fraud, or I'm a bad person, or I'm not operating with intention. And it ripped me apart. And so now I'm creating more, I would say strong communication lines, and just being very clear with my time. And it starts with how I approach it within myself.
Well, if you get a business that's as big as yours has become and you don't have that, it'll tear you to pieces.
It very well could. And you know better than everyone, once you start growing in that fashion, everybody comes out of the woodwork.
Oh, yeah, especially when you do what I do for a living.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Everybody,
you're a savior. I mean, you're
I don't want to be a savior.
Yeah, but
I'd rather be a teacher. My goal is to have people not need me. I don't want to be anyone's medicine.
That's what we want. We want everyone to be their own teacher. We want everyone to be their own medicine. That's why I really, I was magnetized to your practice, is that you're, as crazy as you are, because you're a berserker. It is. You're the Chekster, right? But you're also so eloquent. And at the end of the day, it always goes back to self. Like it's just boom, right there to the root.
Yeah.
These are tools for you to take on and do whatever the hell with them that you want. This isn't the only way.
No.
This isn't me on a God complex.
No.
This is what works for me. And this is practices that I've learned through my own life and studying the ancients.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that
Foundational
principles. And I find that with, I hate the term spiritual community, but a lot of the spiritual community want to bypass the hard work and the disciplines and the ancients. And it irks me, because there's so much useful information that was worked upon, tried, tested, scientific method, all of it. And it's eloquently there for us. Open a book and read. Commit yourself to a practice. Stop failing. And that failure of not committing to things is eating people's souls up. I know it. And that breeds frustration, anger, and resentment. And then because they're sitting in that, they're self-loathing themselves. They're off-gassing that on everyone else, and then just trying to spiritual bypass somebody.
The reason I love Kabir's teaching so much is Kabir was all about spirituality being in the world, not sitting in caves, not spiritual bypassing. He wasn't about celibacy. He was like, yes, have a wife, have a family, have a job, go be part of the world. Because if your spirituality doesn't help you interface with the world, it's not real spirituality.
You're right. It's like we can all reach higher levels of attainment, but at the end of the day, who are you helping in your sphere of influence? Yeah. And how are they helping you? Where's the energy exchange? Yeah. And we need to find that energy exchange balance.
I think for me, I just know what I have to do so that I can help people. And after almost 40 years of being a therapist, over and over and over again, I see what ails people is that they're always saying, I don't have time. I don't have time. I don't have time to exercise. I don't have time to cook real food. I don't have time to do any kind of meditation. I've got kids. I've got this job. And I'm like, yeah, but you have time right now. You're in a therapist's office because you can't function anymore. And you've been going to doctors for years and you're taking all sorts of drugs. So, having been through this a million times over and over and over again with so many people, it just reinforced to me that I've got to really make sure that I don't become like the very pathology that I'm working with every day. And so it means I've got to devote time to keep my body in shape, and I've got to devote time for emptying my mind and doing spiritual practices that help me expand my sphere of awareness beyond just the material world. and I've got to eat well, and I've got to make sure that I have quality water coming into my body, because my God, if we're anything, we're water. We're 99% water by molecular count. So if you're not taking care of the water you're drinking, then you're not taking care of the planet's water either.
Non-negotiable.
Yeah, so
maybe if you're listening to this, you find the non-negotiables. You don't have to go into a $50,000 stem cell procedure in Mexico.
No.
Why don't we start with, maybe we need to locate a spring and understand why spring water is so valuable to every single mechanism in the entire human body.
And the nature.
And nature,
Yeah.
right? Because we are not separate from nature. We've only morphed into this separate class of some kind of entity outside of nature, when in fact we're carbon-based life forms made of the same exact minerals that are from the earth.
Yes.
So that's like, okay, let's have that aha moment. And then let's talk about what we're doing every day, because what you're not choosing for yourself, you're choosing not to have that, right?
Yes.
And so that takes staring in the mirror.
Yeah.
And I've done that work. I've stared in the mirror for 30 hours once. There might have been a little bit of medicine involved.
The mirror might have been some of the medicine.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because you can't, at some point, you got to shut off the bullshit valve.
Yeah.
And just be honest with yourself. And I always ask people, like, what distracts you in the world, and what makes you shift your consciousness into a lower vibrational field? What is it about certain people you resent?
Yeah.
Right? Those questions really tell you a little bit about yourself.
Yes.
And I find that I'm starting to ask myself these questions, and in my private rooms, I'm always just throwing these questions, and the responses are beautiful, and I'm learning from other people's responses.
Yes.
Because we're all the same.
Yeah.
We're all the same.
We're more the same than we are different.
Absolutely. And we're having this perspective, but at the same time, we've got lost in this, tunnel vision
Mm-hmm.
that we're alone in the world, and that it's just us.
Mm-hmm.
And that right there is the big liar. And that right there, I feel, is creating a lot of suffering and a lot of anger and a lot of resentment. And you could see it in everything. You can see it in the foods. You have some people's like, nope, it's carnivore. Nope, it's veganism. Nope, it's this. It's frugivore. Now it's breatharian. Now it's you have it all wrong. You're crazy. You're telling people the wrong things. They shouldn't be doing this. They shouldn't be doing that. Chervin, you're just selling supplements. You shouldn't be doing that. Blah 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 blah. At the end of the day, why are we fighting instead of doing what's best for ourselves? Because when we step up, we start taking care of ourselves, then we can start taking care of somebody else.
Yeah.
And that creates a chain effect.
Mm-hmm.
Look, the systems that are being built around us and enslaving us, they do a good job of doing that.
One of the things that comes to my mind is, because people do make comments about selling supplements, they even attack me because I offer the stuff that my sponsors offer on the podcast. But I think, because I'm aware of and have used a huge number of your products, because you give them to me whenever you make new ones, and I got a box of them here, and so I test them out and I use them, a lot of them, on a daily basis. But my point is that I think what's important for people to realize is that you're not just selling supplements, you're actually selling a lot of things that are actually about healing the body, balancing the body in non-invasive ways, like your activated charcoal. I wouldn't even call that a supplement. That's a medicine. It's a natural medicine.
Yeah.
It's a way to clean your body that's very, very effective, that you're hardly ever going to get a doctor to give you. It's like, so the point being is that what I see that you're doing is actually not just selling supplements, it's selling approaches to bringing balance into your body so that you can balance your mind and your emotions, and you can kind of recalibrate the internal system of your humanity so that you have an operational base to work from. You talked about the mirror. The more unhealthy a person gets, it's like twisting or bending a mirror. It always distorts your perception of what you see in the mirror.
Yes, the Maya.
But what I'm saying is, as people get more and more out of balance and more toxic and more chaotic on the inner of themselves, they don't realize that their perception of their relationships, their financial situation, their work relationships, pretty much everything in their life is being distorted through the lens of themselves.
That's right.
So using a healthy detox, or, one of my favorite products is your liposomal glutathione.
Yeah, me
'Cause
too.
as you know,
I do 3 of those a day.
I like to vaporize. I only can handle one. My body doesn't want more than one, so I'm fortunate I don't need more than one. But I like to vaporize, and I'll tell you what, for anyone that vaporizes should be using liposomal glutathione, because it's your chief antioxidant, and it really helps my body. I notice a big difference. I notice my skin's a lot better when I'm using that product. But
same, I get the glow.
yeah,
and it's probably the PQQ in there too, which is the highest brain antioxidant and really good. But
could be.
I love what you're saying, but also learning what glutathione is.
Well, it's an antioxidant. That's what I know.
And knowing that it chelates metabolites and toxins and molds and heavy metals and bacteria and parasites. It's manufactured endogenously in the body. It's the master antioxidant.
Yeah.
It's beautifying, but it's longevity at its core.
Hi, everybody. Cymbiotika just came out with a new product that I got to test, and I want to tell you about it because a lot of you are like me. You got some aches and pains. I've been around for a while and been thrown off horses, motorcycles, and all sorts of things. And there's an area in my body that hurts quite a lot due to having 2 discs blown out, and that's my lower cervical spine. And Chervin just showed up to visit me with his beautiful partner, Jamie, and handed me this bottle of Ultimate Pain Balm. And he said, Paul, try this. And I put it on my neck, and within seconds, my pain was gone. But even better, I felt like all my chakras are opening up and I'm being tapped into nature. So, Chervin, what did you do? How did you do that? Because this is really good. It smells amazing.
I mean, I don't really have words. I might just go mute here because I'm smelling it and it's taking me into some mystical journey. I mean, look at the color of it.
It's beautiful. It looks like turquoise. What, turquoise, maybe?
Yeah, kind of. That's called blue tansy, which is a very, very rare flower.
Yeah.
And we use the essence of blue tansy. It goes with pain relief. Blue is cooling. This is an organic artisan blend of some of the most powerful topical medicinals in the world. And its ability to penetrate and create immediate effect is just absolutely stunning.
Yeah, and it's acting on an energetic level immediately.
It really does. And, for people that are having breathing issues, children that are having breathing issues, instead of the Vicks rub, which is filled with chemicals and all kinds of stuff, you put that on the chest, put it anywhere on the body. Sometimes I put it a little bit under my nose. It opens up my sinuses. It's very potent. So someone like, men, we don't want to put that on our fingers and put it in our private area, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, you have a hot rod.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a journey. It's never been done before at this level. It's sitting in Myron glass, just like, most of our stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm very happy with where we're at with this. People are having the best reviews, and it's a go-to for me every day.
So it's great for muscle pain, joint pain, anything else?
Burns, cuts, anything.
Restricted breathing.
Yep, restricted breathing.
Put it on the chest.
Headaches. A lot of people are getting cluster headaches because they're not mineralized properly or they're out of alignment. This can open up those senses and allow clarity. I look at it as it opens up the highways of life from within.
Plus, it's hard to get a good pain balm that's all organic. So
Absolutely.
It's nice to know you can put something on your body that's clean.
Yeah.
I can tell you, I tried it. I'm not easy to impress. And I'm sitting here right now with no pain in my neck and this feeling of a fullness of energy. And it's definitely worth trying if you want a little backup in your toolkit for when things are aching, or if you have some old chronic stuff like I do. So you will find this very impressive. I sure did.
This is your medicine journey.
There it is.
To get 15% off this product and all the other amazing products by Cymbiotika, go to cymbiotika.com and use the promo code L4D15 at checkout. That's cymbiotika.com, CYMBIOTIKA.com, with the promo code capital L, the number 4, capital D, and the number 15.
The environment's so toxic. I mean, even here where we farm organically, we still have, God, the other day we looked up and there must have been 40 chemtrails in the sky.
Yeah, they're played tic-tac-toe, huh?
And and then interestingly enough, I was just having a conversation, I think it was with Justin on the weekend, and I got a text from a friend who lives in Michigan sending me a picture of the sky. She goes, "You're not going to believe this. Look at all these chemtrails." And I've talked to other people, and it's like they're just kind of completely poisoning everybody with this bogus concept of weather control, when really, well, we don't have to get into all that. But
we'll get the right nomenclature in there. It's weather modification.
Yeah, weather
right?
modification,
geoengineering, and that's probably a different conversation. But look, these things are real.
Yeah,
and they've admitted it to it.
But
right?
my point is, there's an environmental toxin.
Yeah.
That no matter how good I take care of my property, I can't exclude, because I can't build a 14-acre umbrella over my house. And
That's
even if
right.
I could, it would still blow in from the side. So there are just realities. I mean, here, my family spend a lot of our hard-earned money to make sure our kids have a healthy environment, and that we have a healthy environment. We grow a lot of our own food. We're building up our animal stock. We're taking care of water. We're doing a lot of things. But I still have to connect to my body and ask it what it needs. And so when it comes to things like running, a regular detoxification a few times a year to clean my body out, to have access to glutathione, to have access to vitamin C in a high quality form, like liposomal vitamin C, which I really love. It's actually very good tasting, and I really feel a nice natural lift from it.
Yeah.
I mean, look, how many people are drinking soda pop, eating sugar, and drinking coffee and tea all day when they don't really realize that a cold shower and 1,000 milligrams of liposomal vitamin C could change their whole world.
Absolutely.
Right?
100%.
And then if you take a cold shower but you don't have a filtration system, then you're just drinking all that chlorine through your skin. So there's another example. If you're not aware of how important it is to keep your environment healthy, then you can poison yourself living what we call a normal life.
That's right. And some people, that's their karma, that's their destiny. And God bless them.
Well,
right?
Some people are just honestly ignorant, which is why we talk about these things, to help them, realize. One of the things I know from being a therapist is that I've spent my whole life studying a lot, as you know, and it's easy to forget that an electrician may not be really aware that they should study nutrition, or someone could be a pilot, or they could be the president of a corporation and be super knowledgeable about chemistry or physics or any number of
they
science.
could be a specialist, right?
Yeah, but they may not know about the importance of meditation or an infrared sauna or sweating or getting enough exercise a day, because unfortunately, our education system teaches us mostly the things that don't really enhance our life. It's kind of fucked up.
Everything you're saying is so true. And it reminds me of like risk mitigation or damage control.
Yeah.
Right. We're in that reality where we have to mitigate the damage.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I always say it's a choice. So if someone's listening to this, they got here for a reason.
Yeah.
Right. So this isn't in a vacuum. Right.
No.
So someone's made a choice. They've gone online. They're on their phone. They've clicked the link. Now they're already into here. What are we? Half an hour in? Who knows?
I don't know.
So you've made a choice, and you are here right now. Like, listen to my voice. You're present right now hearing this. Now, something, I don't know if it's cosmic. I don't know if it's ancestral. I don't know if it's just hyper materialism. You're here right now. I brought you here. Now you can either step away and go backwards, or you can drink from the river and see if that river is going to help you.
Yeah.
And you can take it in and learn more. I always say that with everything we do. Like, don't take some of our compounds. Don't take nicotinamide mononucleotide. Don't take, all of our stuff without knowing what they are and allowing yourself the presence to experience it and find momentum in it. And this is just one subject. This is for everything. Your career,
Mm-hmm.
your love life, your friendships, all of those things. How you do anything is how you do everything. So we tend to see those, a lot of the people share the same neglecting, I would say, frequency with everything in their life. It's a common denominator.
Yeah, I think it's a couple of factors. The number one reason for physician visits in the world today is fatigue, based on various studies.
That's
out
right.
there.
Yeah.
And as a person once you get to the point where you don't have enough core energy to run your vital systems, your autonomic systems, breathing, circulation, thermoregulation, digestion, elimination, detoxification, limbic, emotional, respiratory, cardiac, etc.
Yep.
I mean, those are your core survival systems. So once a person's level of core vitality is such, which would be like your phone battery when it goes red.
That's
so
right.
You got a few minutes left before the whole thing crashes.
Compromise.
Yeah, and you may lose information or whatever. I think a big problem is that the government, largely, and regulatory bodies have allowed our food supply and our topsoils and our water and our air to become so toxic, and the predatory marketing and the industrial machine has just pushed people to the point where they're so disconnected from what it means to really live, but their core vitality is low. And when your core vitality gets low, you don't have a lot of energy to go find out what glutathione is and how it works in your body. You just want to be told by somebody what to do.
Yeah.
And the problem is it's hard to find people that are telling you what to do because they have a genuine interest in helping you versus just repeating some script they learned in school that was sponsored by a drug company or something else, which is why I say to people all the time, don't go to sick people for health advice. It's just a bad idea.
100%. Disabling a populace in any way, shape, or form, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, financially, gives the opposer the upper hand.
Yeah.
And so the same people that are complaining about the government, the same people complaining about XYZ, are the same people that aren't listening to some of these advices from people like myself, from you, from a lot of the health leaders that are out there giving you free advice.
Yeah, I got over 750 videos on YouTube for free. I mean, it's like, okay, look, guys, I'm giving you everything I can give you without sinking my own ship.
What else do you want?
Yeah.
Yeah, and at some point, someone's got to have the discernment, to justify the action.
Yeah.
Right? You have to make the choice. Without it, so let's rewind a little bit. So if you're compromised, your autonomic nervous system's falling apart. You have irregular heartbeat. You're sweating, anxiety, chronic fatigue syndrome. Now you might have picked up an autoimmune problem because of that, right? Which is very, very possible. It's happening at a record rate right now.
Yeah, well, we have one in the whole world. It's called surveillance security.
Yeah, that's. I think we lead into that, but
we'll get there later. There's an autoimmune disorder.
But when you're in that state, you're right. You're just grasping at straws.
Yeah,
and you're again reinforcing the wheel again, which is instant gratification. The body doesn't work that way.
No.
Physiology is a process. It you give someone some kind of disease, at some point their body just starts to sputter and slowly then starts to die off.
Yeah, well,
it doesn't stop right there on an instant.
It goes from one stage of compensation to another till it has no more.
That's correct.
No more cards in its hand. It's
correct.
Out of options.
Correct. It's not like you got hit with 10 grams of cyanide. Right?
No.
It's a sputtering situation. So when your body's talking to you, listen.
Yeah.
Don't mask it.
No.
Don't hide it through escapism.
It's called having a relationship.
Yeah, have a relationship. Communicate with your body.
Mm-hmm.
Shift out of the patterns that brought you to this point, because there's a reason why you're at this point.
One of the things that's sad for me, I've got a lot of empathy for people. Think of all the people that we interact with that learn from us, get inspired because they see us living in a way they would like to live and then emulate it. But when you look at the population, we're around 8 billion people now, there's very few people out there in general. I mean, how far do you think the average person has to walk to find someone that's healthy enough to really emulate for them a way to live? And I think we're at this almost implosion state where that's one of the reasons I love my podcast, is because I can reach a lot of people, and someone can listen to this podcast and say, oh, my mom, you got to listen to this. Maybe she'll get inspired to take the right supplements or to go for a walk or something like that. That's the beautiful thing about podcasting. You can reach a lot of people and touch them with some common sense and some inspiration. But I feel very sad. Like if I go to the airport, for example, I look around in the airport and I'm like, oh my God, feels very much like being at a corporate cattle farm.
Yeah.
Where all these animals are just sick and standing and living in their poop and barely surviving. And you see these obese bodies and gender confusion and all this other stuff. And I'm just like, wow, how do I help all these people? I just feel sad that our airways are so saturated with silliness and not, genuine common sense health advice and life advice. I hope that more young people take the hero's journey and become leaders for the rest of the world, because if you don't have somebody that you can see the results in, it's one thing to tell people to be healthy. It's another thing to show them what it looks like. I really feel it's important for everybody listening that's healthy to do your best to show people your joy, your vitality, your why you do what you do, and inspire people, because, you get to a certain point and you get enough sick parents, then you got a lot of sick kids, and there's nobody really to wake up and say, what do we do now? It's really like watching mold grow until it starts with one apple and takes the whole barrel over, and then no matter what you eat, you're sick. One of the things I wanted to ask you is, like, what's your vision for Cymbiotika? Where do you see it going in the future? What's how will you know when you're where you want to take it? What's the mission?
I getting emotional just hearing you on your points and the empathy that you feel.
I do. It's I'm a therapist, so I don't think anybody wants to be fat. I don't think anybody wants to be tired. I don't think anyone wants to be sick. I don't think anyone wants terrible skin and back pain and sexual dysfunction. My God, the number of 18 and 19-year-olds that have reached out to me asking how to get off of Viagra, which just shocks me, or how to get over impotence and things like that. I'm like, these are the diseases of old men.
Yeah.
And they're teenagers. And I'm like, wow.
The endocrine system has been hijacked.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's I feel the same empathy. I see it, I see it when I travel, right? And I feel for the collective. I feel for the parents and the grandparents and all the ancestors that worked their ass off to get us to this point.
Yes.
And then boom, all of a sudden,
yeah,
just lambasted the character assassination and the quality of life and the conviction of mankind. And I don't know, I think to myself, was this written? Is this part of something that we can't see? Is it supposed to go this way? Is this Charles Darwin? Was he right? Is it survival of the fittest? And which I never really resonated with. But in actuality, there's truth to that. The fittest are going to survive. And so I play a role in this to some capacity, and I have compassion,
mm-hmm.
And I learned to have compassion where there was moments earlier in my life where I had zero, and it was like, F them, they're gone.
Yeah.
Let them go. Let them, this and that. I have compassion and empathy, yet at the same time, I don't kill myself for it, because that would be a disservice for everything that, we're trying to achieve here, because biochemistry is real. If you psychologically put yourself in those people's position, you're going to feel it. I feel it. And especially through the visual majesty, I can see it and feel it, and it rips me apart. As far as Cymbiotika, that's the greatest question, because that's something that I don't even know, because we're hitting at a pace right now that's beyond anything that I had predicted. And so outside of just the fact that we've grown so much, I feel like this is going to become a culture that's going to be adopted by groups and groups of people. And this is becoming a family operation. We're a family company. We're a family-run company. We're not some big, bad corporate company. We're a family-run organization. And I'm there as one of the mouthpieces saying, hey, look, you got to take care of yourself. You got to show up for yourself.
Mm.
And that's the evolution. And I think from there, it can become limitless. And some of the stuff I don't want to, I want to get into this on the next one, but I've been working with one of the top bioscientists in the world. The ideation phase of Cymbiotika, of what we have coming in 2023, is unlike anything we've ever done before. And there's nothing on the market that comes even close to what we're doing. We're getting so close to almost pharmaceutical quality. And what I mean by pharmaceutical, I don't mean drug, but what I mean is just purity and exact science on our formulations. And that is exciting for me. And that's exciting for all the people that are involved. I see the organization growing. We're already in 25 countries.
Wow.
Yeah, we're in 25 countries.
That's great.
It's fantastic. I see so many opportunities for people getting involved. I see this more becoming a really established movement. And similar with what you've created over the last 25, 30 years, maybe just in a different juxtaposition, but just some people where they're proud and it's become cool to be healthy.
Yeah, well, that's a good thing.
Right. And it's not just like, hey, look at my green juice. And
there's the pendulum swinging the other way.
Yeah. Well, I'll take that.
Yeah.
And I want to empower people. You know, I want people to have an opportunity to come and learn. You know, my goal at the end of the day is to become a professor and to teach modern concepts of ancient practices, albeit from ancient Zoroastrian practices to a lot of Steiner's cosmology, to a lot of the biodynamic principles, and really start nurturing parents to start, you know, building that core family unit on those principles.
Yeah, good idea.
That's really, at the end of the day, if we can get the mothers and get the children back in line, we got a shot.
Yeah, well, I think it starts there. I mean,
yeah.
As the Christian church, the preachers at the Christian church say, give me a child and I'll give you a preacher, which, you know, I'm not...
You can't have one without the other.
I'm not promoting that, but I am saying that, you know, the same model is true if you teach kids. Like, I love seeing my kids out in the garden and working with the animals, and they love it. They love getting dirty. They love planting and
being kids.
They love to go check the eggs and see if the chickens have laid eggs, and they are so careful. They put them in the pockets and hold them, and they come show me, and the eggs are still warm because they come right out from the chicken, and they love petting the pig and taking care of the rabbit. And, you know, it's just such a... I'm so grateful that I've been fortunate enough to be able to put the right environment together to give my kids the foundation knowledge they need so they don't get swallowed up by the world and they can see through the games, you know?
Absolutely. I mean, that's nature's school.
Yeah. And I just wish there was more opportunities for people. I mean...
Let's not wish it. Let's
cities are dangerous places to be right now, especially these stupid smart cities. That's a death box for sure. Hi, everybody. I hope you're enjoying the show. As you know, the season has changed, and we have a shift to colder, wetter weather, creating yet another stress factor for our natural immunity. We all know the world has been buzzing with confusion and insecurity around issues of the world and what threat or game we'll have to deal with next, and such issues always bring family debate and challenge right along with them, as COVID exemplified so well. But many learn the hard way that caring for their immune system needs to be primary in their life, and the effort it takes to nourish one's immune system is far less than the challenges of being so caught up in the rat race that you don't have time to do so. If you listen to my podcast with any regularity, follow my teachings, or have my book, How to Eat, Move, and Be Healthy, you know for sure I'm not a pill guy. Food is man's best medicine, as Hippocrates informed us long ago, and that's what I love about Organifi's certified organic products. They are not isolates, they do not contain synthetic ingredients, and they don't even have glyphosate residues. Thank God for that. That's why I feel assured that recommending Organifi Immunity to you is a way to allow you to use real organic food ingredients as natural immune support. And Organifi Immunity is something that my own family enjoys and benefits from. So naturally, I want to share these benefits with you. Some of the key benefits of Organifi Immunity are: it is 100% USDA certified organic, contains organic, clinically researched beta-glucans, It has a delicious orange blend with low sugar. It bolsters immune response for everyday support. It offers antiviral, antifungal, and antimicrobial support. Each serving contains 500% of your daily vitamin C from organic acerola cherries, which are an excellent source of whole food vitamin C. Offers immune-boosting ginger and turmeric, and contains natural food-based sources of zinc, which also support your immune system. For additional support and rapid response, you can benefit from Organifi Critical Immune. Organifi Critical Immune is a convenient encapsulated blend of potent organic herbs designed to take for immediate onset of acute illness, such as a cold or flu, featuring Chinese herbal superstars such as Andrographis and astragalus root. Some of the key benefits of Organifi Critical Immune are: it bolsters the immune system for acute immune support, antiviral and antimicrobial support. It's designed for short-term use and contains 4 potent certified organic standardized herbal extracts that have been effectively used for thousands of years to support immune system function worldwide. Organifi Critical Immune is easy and convenient to take. To support your immune system, your family's immune system, and protect your health freedom, take advantage of our special Living 4D discount offer and get 20% off now by going to Organifi, Organifi.com/Chek20 and save 20% on your purchase using the code Chek20 at checkout. And remember to spell Chek, capital C, capital H, capital E, capital K, 20 to get your 20% discount. Not only will you be giving yourself wholesome organic immune support with both of these products, but you will be adding nutrient variety to your diet, which is always an important means of giving your body the nutrition it needs to support you in ever-changing environments and having long-term health and freedom. Additionally, kids love Organifi products because they are full of nutrition that tastes good. Enjoy. What are your 4 pillars that you talk about?
Being transparent with yourself,
Yeah.
Living in your truth,
Mm-hmm.
Committed to excellence, that commitment to excellence is not to be taken lightly. That's really a foundational faculty that's been lost.
As Jung said, the average man can never be successful.
Yeah.
Because average and successful don't mix.
That's right.
You're either one or you're the other.
That's right. And you can accomplish that without self-loathing and without pressure.
Mm-hmm.
It just takes discipline.
And it reminds me of my last podcast with my buddy Jonathan Bluestein. And I said to him, what are your suggestions for people dealing with the issues of the world right now? And his first response was Gong Fu, which means develop some kind of mastery. Focus on developing mastery at something in your life, because one, that makes you valuable to other people. It makes you have skills that are saleable. But most importantly, once you learn to master one thing, the process of mastery. It's easier to master the second thing than it is the first thing because you know the stages. It's
That's
like
right.
When I mastered my body as an athlete, I understood what it took to master, stonework, or to master working on a drill rig and doing water well and exploration work, or what it took to master being a mechanic. The stages of mastery are fairly consistent. So I think one is Gong Fu. Focus on developing mastery so you really learn how to become masterful at something. And then that gives you that sense of esprit de corps and attention to detail.
That's right.
And commitment to the process, and knowing that there's always challenges along the way. So you don't just give up, you work through it.
And confidence.
Yep.
For God's sakes, you're building confidence. You're building momentum that, hey, I did it. I stuck with it.
Yes.
Every time you stick with something and you knock it out, how good do you feel? And how do you feel when you give up without, after, just trying for a little bit? It's a terrible feeling.
Yeah.
Right? And so we got to stop tapping out.
That's the feeling of being average.
The feeling of being average or not worthy. And then you escape, and that becomes a drug, and that becomes a rigmarole, and you keep doing it over and over.
Then you're on your metaverse.
And then you're on your metaverse.
Pretending that you don't exist here.
And you're creating an illusion of what you are.
Yeah.
Right? It's a fake, false identity and a false narrative. And that is dangerous.
Yeah.
Imagine 50% of the population are living in a false narrative right now.
Yeah, it's bad news.
Maybe probably even more.
Probably more.
So if we have a majority of the population that are in a false identity or a false narrative, no wonder we're in the situation we're in.
Yeah.
No wonder we're not standing up for our convictions. No wonder we're not saying F that when something's being thrown into our face and saying, no, we are not going to stand for that.
Yes.
So Steiner also said, in order to develop your inner consciousness and to enter your inner faculties of higher learning and higher awareness, you must also build the body and build the repetitions and use your hands, right? He was very, very big on that.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he was a sculptor. That's why he talked about the preparations needed for biodynamic farming. By building things with your hands and your bare feet, you're developing those systems within you.
That's why gardening and even taking care of your animals, washing your dog and your cat, washing your car, cleaning your own house, like I like, as you know, build things out of rock because you can have a stack of rocks in your backyard. Doesn't cost you much of anything.
No, it
Low
doesn't.
maintenance. Doesn't matter if it rains. Doesn't matter if it snows. It's like equipment that you can leave outside. They're not going to rust. And you can do all sorts of things. It's hands-on. You get your feet on the earth. You get your hands on the earth and the stones, and you really reconnect. You bleed off all the electromagnetic pollution. You come out of that, and you just feel like someone just tuned you up from the inside.
And then your reward is you're able to watch your favorite movie.
Yeah, because you earned your rest.
You earned your exactly.
Yeah.
But now we're not earning that.
No.
We're using DoorDash to get food.
Yeah.
We have no idea what they use to cook it.
Yeah.
And it's coming to our door. We're not even moving anymore.
No.
They've really, this is a thought. This is very precision, what's happening here.
Well, it's a factory.
It's a complete factory, and it's precision, like razor blade. They've dropped the hammer. Everything. Convenience is diminishing the faculty of humanity right now.
Well, convenience has become an inconvenience.
Convenience.
Yeah, it's a convenience, yeah. So anyhow, after Gong Fu is sovereignty, really honoring and respecting your right to your own body and your right to your own choice and your right to your voice and your right to your opinion and your right to your creativity. And then is tribe, collecting people, working with people, finding people that share similar values so that you can have the support of people that like to exercise, that like to eat good food, that like to breathe, that are interested in raising their kids well, that are interested in learning and growth, and that are willing to challenge each other as well, right? Having tribe doesn't mean you just hang out with a bunch of yes people.
That's what built Cymbiotika. I didn't have yes men around me. I had people that were punching me in the face throughout the entire process.
My favorite interactions with my friends are when I say, okay, let's talk about this, and I'll say something, and they'll say, well, what about this, or what about that? And next thing you know, you're seeing things from angles that you didn't even realize you hadn't looked at them before.
Absolutely.
Because everyone's got a unique perspective, and I think...
And you trust their perspective.
I do,
when you give me shit or whatever, I love you and I honor you, and that's why I put myself around you. So I have the discipline, or I have the wherewithal, I have the backbone to be able to receive it, right? And that's the same thing with a lot of my close friends. I give them the permission or the authority because I love and respect them, and I'm honoring myself to receive that.
Yeah.
We are... Why don't we have that? Why don't we have relationships that are built on fruitful communication as opposed to just getting by?
It's like when I was a boxer and a martial artist. If I just went to the training every day to do my sparring and I could just beat everybody up, I would never grow.
That's right.
But when I was a competitive fighter, there was a lot of guys that I trained with that were badass. And so I had to have my shit together, and they pushed me, and I did my best to push them too.
That's right. You bend. You bend.
Yeah.
You don't break.
Well, sometimes I broke.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of broken bones. I got 4 broken noses from those escapades.
Yeah, but that built up. that built up. That's character.
That
right?
enhanced my reflexes.
I'm sure.
If you need to speed your reflexes, just get in a boxing ring with someone a lot faster than you and stronger, and they'll inspire you to speed up.
I love that. I love being tested. I love being around people that are tried and studied. And there's a difference between someone that is just in the false ego, that's like, look, this is what I know. I'm at this superior complex, versus someone that truly sees you, is a great mirror for you. It's the lens is clear, and they're honoring you out of love and truth.
Yeah.
That's a lot different than judgmental codependencies.
Yeah, and that brings up an important point. It's important to choose your friends wisely, because if your friends aren't smart enough, strong enough, and capable enough to challenge you, then you just stagnate together. You don't grow together.
I completely agree. Just like that bag of tobacco.
And herbs and oils made by Kirsty, so good, man.
Oh my God.
Yeah, little of Andreas' seed oil. I got a podcast out, but if you want to learn about this fennel seed oil I use from Andreas Seed Oils is badass, man.
That's awesome. I'm a big fan of fennel.
Yeah,
I
love
have
it.
so much fennel growing at my house.
One of the things I would like to hear you talk a little bit about is, how do you source your products, and how do you make sure that they're farmed organically? I mean, I know personally, this is for the people listening, because a lot of people are suspicious of anyone that makes supplements, and
They should be.
as many people have said to me, well, how do you know Cymbiotica's products are really organic and not fake organic? And how do you know they're testing for toxins and things like that? So I'd like to hear about how you guys source your products, and how do you make sure they're clean and healthy?
So we go through massive amounts of research and development before we do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And everything has to come through our team of scientists, our team of chemists, our formulators, myself. At the end of the day, I have to sign off on everything. And this is the most important aspect when it comes to supplementation, is that you have to trust the source. You have to know where these things are coming from. So we go and we learn through relationships and network who out there is doing it the right way and who's making shortcuts.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of shortcuts being done out there.
The supplement industry is crooked.
It's beyond crooked. That's how Cymbiotika started. I was like, what the hell is going on here? We all are yelling at the pharmaceutical industry, yet at the same time, the supplement industry is the Wild West, and you have no idea what you're buying on Amazon.
No.
You have no clue who's behind all this. And 99% of those companies are just marketing companies. They have no idea who's running the show. They're not transparent. They're not in the meat. They're not front and center with you, and they're not communicating with you. And so I wanted to change that. I wanted it to be transparent. So I went everywhere, all of our farms, every extract that we have, every fermented vitamin C, all the things. I wanted to make sure these were done from the highest practices, ISO certified, third party investigated, because we have a subscription service in Cymbiotika. That means that we have to produce product consistently.
Yeah.
And so all those products right there that are in that box,
Yes.
all of those have been emulsified, created, manufactured probably within maybe 2 weeks ago to about 5 months ago.
Yeah.
It's almost like made to order.
Yeah.
And so every single raw that comes in goes through quarantine. It goes through different levels of chromatography, goes through different levels of investigation. We don't just take someone's word for it. I don't care what GMP facility it comes from. I don't care any of that. It has to be third-party tested. And that's something that we do, and we have to do. Because of the size of our organization, we can't play around with that stuff, right? We're forced to do that when we were doing that openly from the jump start.
You see, if you just start manufacturing vaccines, you can skip all that. You don't have to have anything tested or proven.
Absolutely, yeah.
You can just say, take this, or you'll lose your freedom.
Chekster jumping in there, and he's got the analogies. I love it. Yeah, it gives you a good visual capacity. But this stuff, I take this stuff as the most important aspect of what we're doing on the ideation phase and the research and development. We will not mess around when it comes to raw materials. That is what Cymbiotika stands for. And we're constantly getting better in every facet that we do. If I can find something that has more purity, I'm going to jump on it. I've modified some of our products almost 15 times in the last 4 years.
Yeah.
When I could have just been comfortable and happy from what it was.
Yes.
And so we're an evolving organism that's breathing.
Yeah,
right?
That's important.
That right there is important. And
Yeah.
that takes a lot of work.
It does take a lot. It costs a lot of money too.
A lot of money. It drives my team crazy. But you know what? I've hired the best around me. And so now I have a supportive team that's doing that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
I have a question for you. If you were to say to the average individual who's listening, but my audience is, as you are surely aware, is a very healthy, very intelligent audience.
Very much so. Your people are probably the most intelligent people I've come across, just in common sense and logic. But
yeah. Well, yeah. The institute training is not easy, so
Sure.
you have to have your
wits about you.
Yeah, and you have to have some level of commitment or you'll never make it through. And unlike a lot of these organizations, I test people. You can't get past it's not multiple choice questions. You get to a certain point, you have to demonstrate your skills or you can't go any further.
I love that.
I didn't come to train the masses. I came to create masters because they can influence a lot of people.
We're not here to wake up the sheep. We're here to inspire the lions.
Yeah, exactly. And build them up. So my question is, if you think of what's going on in the world, everything we talked about, and someone's on a limited budget, let's say a parent is listening right now with 3 or 4 kids, what are the 2 or 3 products that would be the best to invest in because they're most likely to help with the most important things across the board, and they can only spend $100 a month?
Probiotics.
Yes.
Methyl B12, B6 combination, which I've just upgraded to bring on hydroxycobalamin, which is another important form of B12. So it's adenosylcobalamin, methylcobalamin, and hydroxycobalamin, also B6 pyridoxine in there in liposomal form. That's for methylation purposes. And I would say the glutathione.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just such a heavy hitter.
Yeah.
And it encompasses,
antioxidants are so important.
It's just, yeah. I mean, and there's so many things there, but to keep it under budget, and that's why we have that subscription service, which is, our stuff is not cheap to make.
No,
these are expensive products, but we don't care about the margin. We care about the volume, and we want more people on these products.
Yeah.
So those, but I can go every single product. I could go down a synopsis of why this is.
Well, that's not the point.
Yeah.
The point is, what should the average person on a limited
D3K2,
budget?
D3K2 CoQ10 combo. That's good for mothers. That's passed on to their children. We have both forms of K2 in there. K2 is the most neglected micronutrient in the world right now. That's a Weston A. Price molecule that he discovered. K2 is, basically activating enzymes.
It's a fat-soluble vitamin.
Fat-soluble vitamin that you find in raw cheese and dairy.
Butter.
Yep, butter, and also in some fermented foods. So we have both forms of K2 in there, MK7 and MK4, and they both have different actions. That's a heavy-duty formula product right there, the D3K2 CoQ10.
Yeah.
Atherosclerotic disease, cardiovascular disease is the number 1 killer in the world right now. And a lot of that has to do with oxidative stress and calcification of our arteries and heart. And so K2 helps take that free-floating calcium and put them exactly where they belong, in the bones. Yeah. And you see that with premenopausal women. They get osteoporosis and all these things start breaking down, possibly as K2 deficiency.
Yeah. Well, it's good to know.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. I know that you're all aware of the importance of vitamin C. There is a mountain of research on it, but not all C is created equally. I love Paleo Valley's Essential C Complex because it is the real deal, bioavailable, and I wanted you to hear right from Autumn Smith, founder of Paleo Valley, why their Essential C Complex is so unique and something you definitely want for your family and your children. Autumn, tell us about your Essential C Complex.
Well, I was shocked to learn as a holistic nutritionist that over 90% of the vitamin C on the market is derived from genetically modified corn, and then it's processed with highly volatile acids. And so I knew I had to find a better way to get all of the powerful benefits of vitamin C. So what I did was I dove into the research and I found the 3 most vitamin C rich superfoods on the planet. That's unripe acerola cherry and camu camu and amla berry. And then I just packed them into capsules. And the benefits are amazing because because you're not only getting vitamin C, but all of the other wonderful benefits that come from these amazing superfoods. So to get access to this complex, all you have to do is go to paleovalley.com and you can use the code CHEK15 at checkout. That's lowercase CHEK 15, and you can save 15% off.
I started having people send me by text, look at so-and-so's AI photo. Can you believe they're getting into all this stuff? And I'm like, wow, okay, here we is. Everybody's living in a video game, and now they want their video game to be in their life, which I think is a kind of a dangerous move. The AI thing is big, right?
This is huge.
This is it. It's a big net. And I've studied it a lot. I've read books on it. I've listened to experts on it. And it's funny, the AI community's very divided. There's those that say, this is dangerous. We got to be very careful with this. And those who say, oh, no, this is going to make your life easier. This is great. And, the long list of things that they think it's so great for. So it's kind of like the new double-edged sword. I'd just love to hear what your thoughts are.
Yeah, when I saw this, I've been seeing this for a long time, and especially with the Steiner upbringing and understanding some of the cosmic forces, one in particular, Ahriman, which is a Persian demon. He was the antithesis of Ahura Mazda, which was the Christ figure in Zoroastrianism, which is my native bloodline path, which was interesting enough. I felt called to really study that and learn that.
Yeah.
I saw this the other day, so we could talk about this on a granular level. I saw all of a sudden, I turned on my social media and, 20, 30 people that I know and respect had made a AI version of themselves and were extremely proud of how they looked and the different captures that they had. And these AI images, they're beautiful. It made people look really, really extravagant. It's like airbrushed, and all of a sudden it's like the whole filters and all that stuff. And I've been an opponent against all these filters. I think it's really causing a social cataclysm to children, especially to women.
It is, because first of all, it's a departure from reality.
Complete departure from reality. And it's creating a false narrative of who you are.
Yeah.
And the same people are saying, no, this is us exploring the infinite potential of our conscious. And that's kind of the argument, is like, I want to see how I can play in these realms and these kinds of things. And so I did a video 2 nights ago when this all happened, and that video went viral. There was thousands of comments, and it got shared 10,000 times.
Wow.
And I was very clear, this is non-judgmental. This is just coming from a place of discernment.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, we don't know what you're signing over when you do these types of, download these apps and you make these graphics of yourself. Actually, we do know. I have the fine print right here. I'll read it in a second.
Yeah.
Number two, what you're doing is, you're jumping into an energy.
Mm-hmm.
This is an energy. This is some kind of movement into another phase of our collective consciousness. And so the same people, again, and I kind of said it, I'm paraphrasing, but the same people that believe in the holographic reality, that believe in the morphogenic field, that believe in the biology of belief, that understand epigenetics, that understand the dangers of photo ID and photo passcodes and all that stuff, are the same people that went headfirst into this.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know that their answer is, we're having fun and this is the whole thing. But there's something insidious here, in my opinion.
There's a reason we make fishing lures flashy.
That's right. It dangles the carrot.
So that the fish bites the hook.
That's right. And when I see everybody going into a direction, I usually go the opposite direction. That's just a natural defense system that I have.
Yeah.
If I see everybody swallowing something, I'm spitting it out.
Yeah.
And I think we're playing a dangerous game here. I don't think, actually, my discernment says we are playing a dangerous game. AI right now has the capacity to change everything about what we know about ourselves. The amount of data that is being captured at this moment is ungodly.
Yeah, it is.
The capacity to control the narrative of how we think, what we think is our future and who we are in this world, is being guided by a mechanism that was developed by somebody. And that somebody has an agenda. And that those energies have an agenda. And I think it's now gotten so out of hand that the same people that you say that the community that's, we don't know about this AI, this seems dangerous. Those are some of the same people that were part of its production.
Yeah.
Right. And so you're getting it from a firsthand glimpse. It's just the same thing as the same people from Facebook and now Metaverse that said, hey, liking and all these things, the dopamine hits that these people are getting, it's becoming a drug. It's shutting down their ability to actually create a dopaminergic lifestyle where they're working hard for something and then there's a payoff and then they're working hard. No, it's just constant. Look at me, look at this. And it's instant gratification. And I think this AI situation in particular is a combination of an Ahrimanic impulse with a highly Luciferic
I was going to say
perspective.
it's really more
It's ego.
Luciferic.
But on the backs of Ahriman.
But the Ahrimanic aspect of it is the addiction to the use of technology and
the tech itself.
and the more materialistic existence. Like, look at me, you know. Here's and I'm on my phone all the time. So there, you're trapped with a piece of matter that has a bunch of electrons creating another world for you that are distracting you from the fact that you haven't watered your plant or your dog for 3 days. And the Luciferic aspect is the illusion, right? And what concerns me is this AI type stuff we're talking about is a soft entry.
Yeah.
First, you create an illusion. And now I've read a number of books and listened to experts who talk about how so many young people are using this type of photo manipulation technology to present themselves to look a certain way. But then when they go on a date and they see the actual person, they're in shock because they can't believe that's who they
purported that they were.
thought that they were having a date with.
Yeah.
Right? So
that's all too common.
this gorgeous fox of a person on your phone turns out to be Humpty Dumpty about to fall off of a wall. and so you're like, oh my God. And so what happens is there's the Luciferic component of it. It creates an illusion.
Yeah.
So what happens is people get more and more dependent upon their sense of self-love and gratification by creating illusion, while they're separating themselves from the reality that they're eating junk food, not doing all the things we've talked about.
That's right. Creates complacency and everything else.
But it also creates insecurity.
Yeah.
Because you don't really know who you are anymore. How do I jump into my phone so I look like that?
That's right.
And so to me, what's concerning is this is a soft hook for transhumanism.
100%.
Because the next thing you know, like, look how many we got. Go to any gym full of bodybuilders. You got fake pecs, you got fake abs, you got fake calves. We've got plenty of women that are now poisoned from fake boobs. We've got fake lips. We got fake eyes. We got tattooed makeup. We got face, ear. Everybody's like sculpting themselves with shortcuts instead of being healthy and vital. And also, in my age group, you know, I'm 61, so there's a lot of people that go for surgery and pile up the pills and go on these anti-aging programs. But I'm like, how about actually just breathing and eating and moving your body? And what about celebrating the
evolution of your life?
With age comes wisdom.
That's
and so
right.
you don't have to use muscles and perky tits to get what you want in life. You have wisdom to offer people.
I think there's a balance, right? And I think you know, we feel good, we look good, we feel good. There's got to be a balance.
Yeah.
And I've said this line before. It came to me. There is a majority of the population that their perception of self is based on how they perceive others seeing them.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's like the Maya, you have the mask, you pull the mask off, and the mask that you've put on is what you think others are seeing.
Yeah.
And this is a perfect example of that. And this is now going into an extreme level. And we're now because we're entering the digital world at the highest level,
Yeah.
where everything is being watched.
Yeah.
Everything is being collected.
Yeah.
Our entire financial system, our immunization calendar, I can go on and on. The Internet of Eyes, we saw over there.
Yeah.
Every corner is a camera. Every corner is this. This is a soft entry.
And it's weaponized.
Of course, it has to be weaponized.
And then you got all this you know, and Bill Gates is behind a lot of this, and they're chipping people, and they're monitoring your blood gas ratios, your fats, your proteins, and they're going to have a drone drop off or tell you on your phone you can't have any more sugar today. But that's completely taking people away from the relationship with themselves.
That's right.
You know, and
going to a doctor was one thing.
Yeah.
And having the doctor give you a prescription. Now it's internally being embedded into you that you need the prescription, and we're going to do it for you, DoorDash style.
Yeah.
And that's happening as we speak. The unraveling of our entire sovereignty is at jeopardy as we speak.
Yes.
And we're in danger zone right now.
Very much so.
Steiner said in 2020, we enter the age of Ahriman at its highest impulse. He actually says that Ahriman incarnates in human form. I think Ahriman is incarnating in human form through transhumanism.
Yeah. And just to help people understand, Ahriman is the spirit of materialism or matter. So it is identifying yourself through material things.
Science has become highly Ahrimanic, which is now the dogmatic faith, technology, government, systems, complacency, bioidentification, biocarbon footprint. We can go on and on.
How you value yourself.
And just all the scary movies we saw as kids of a dystopian world.
Yes.
They've made a lot of those movies. I've seen them.
Mad Max.
All of
Hunger
these things.
Games.
Hunger Games. That's all Ahrimanic.
Yeah.
Right? And so we have to figure this out, because if we don't figure this out in the next 2 decades,
well,
we could be, or we're already entering.
I don't think we have 2 decades.
Well,
I think we got until the vaccine, the digital passport and digital currency is online. That's when the jail cell closes. So, you know, unless you got a very big stack of gold.
I mean, that's not a bad idea. You know,
no, it's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, I say we have to. Maybe we don't have to. I don't know. Maybe this is part of the involution of our holographic realm. Maybe this is supposed to happen. I don't know.
Well,
but I don't know. I'll tell you this. I don't like it.
I don't like it either, but I have some comments on that because I've investigated it, and I had a great conversation with Rudy Vespor, who's very deep into Steiner's teachings and a real super intelligent man, a homeopath. But before I say that, I want to say one of the things that concerns me about all the photo manipulation and AI technology like we've been talking about is that it externalizes a person's self-esteem to a digital process that is traded through the electrons moving through the invisible airways. So you're actually moving your sense of self-love, self-respect, gratitude, grace, and the magic, mystery, and awe of life now becomes imported into what you can do with some sort of mimicry, gimmickry, trickery.
Yep.
And so if you get a bunch of friends and a bunch of likes and they think what you're doing is really cool, then what happens, instead of being respected as an athlete or respected by your friends because you're vital and healthy and intelligent, now you start getting respected for how tricky you can be with your phone or your computer.
This is reinforcement that we don't need.
Right.
And that's dangerous reinforcement. And so if you're listening to this, really meditate on what Paul just said.
Yeah.
That was deep. And that's another, you think that hasn't been thought about?
No.
That was a plan.
That's
a strategy. That's checkmate. These guys aren't playing checkers.
No.
They're playing chess on every single thing that rolls out.
Yeah.
And we're buying it. And so I've got some feedback. They're like, well, Chervin, you have photos online. What's the difference? They're getting your caricatures. They're getting your face recognition and all that kind of stuff.
The difference is when I see Chervin, I'll see the same guy.
Yeah. Thank you. You see the same guy.
There he is.
But I'm also not giving away that next level of authority. Just like I said, we look good, we feel good, right?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean that I'm going to go pump synthroid in my muscles and blow them up to look bigger.
Yeah.
There's levels to this.
Yeah.
We've already gotten here.
Yeah.
Like the technology's here. Where there's social media. I mean, I know some ancients that are forbidden to ever get your picture taken. They feel it captures part of your soul. And when I'm in deep medicine, I feel the truth of that. Let me tell you, I can feel that. And so let's let's just step back a little bit and monitor our actions and use discernment with the things that are coming across, because they're going to start coming at a rapid pace right now. This is the beginning stage.
Yeah.
Stage 1 is being put in. Stage 2 is about to hit. And I'd love to read the fine print.
You do that, and then I'm going to tell you Steiner's teachings on why we have to go through the Ahrimanic phase.
Sure. Yeah.
Like what it means to our evolution.
So, grant of rights, I won't say the name of the app, but everyone kind of knows what it is. By sharing user content on the services, including by way of entering text queues, parentheses, as defined below, and as may become available, image queues as defined below, you grant the company and its subsidiaries, affiliates, and partners a worldwide, non-exclusive, fully paid, royalty-free, irrevocable, sub-licensable, and transferable license to use, reproduce, distribute, prepare derivative works of and based upon, display, transmit, adapt, edit, modify, publicly display, publish, perform, sell, republish, promote, exhibit, and otherwise use the user content in bold letters in all media now known or hereafter developed for future technologies for any and all purposes, including but not limited to promoting the services in any media formats and through any media channels, whether now known or existing in the future throughout the world, without the company seeking further permission from capital U. In addition, you grant the company and its subsidiaries, affiliates, and partners, as well as other users, with a worldwide, non-exclusive, fully paid, royalty-free, irrevocable, sub-licensable, and transferable license to generate additional images from the text and image queues you created and change such text and image queues.
You know, honestly,
can you believe?
If I didn't know what you were reading, I would have thought that was a Pfizer contract.
I mean, my God.
And
for future stuff that they not even have laid out yet.
Well, here's what that means in English, in case that was confusing to you. It means that when you purchase that product and use it, you have given up all your personal rights and you have become a commodity that they can use to make money, and you will never see any of it. And they can do anything they want with you or your data.
That's exactly right.
It means you have sold your soul.
Yes, yeah. So let's talk about it on a spiritual level. What does that mean to the spirit? What does that mean to your life path? What does that mean to the soul incarnate and your future endeavors and the children and all these things? I mean, 14, 12, 10-year-olds are doing this.
Okay, well, here's what it means to me. It means that this is one of many such contracts. We saw it with the whole COVID pandemic, where you had no knowledge of what you were getting and you have no recourse if it harms you or kills you. Your family has no recourse. So what we see is that it's going to get to the point really soon. Your Alexa is spying on you. Your phone is spying on you. Your televisions are spying on you. Your cars are spying on you. Pretty soon they're going to have cameras in your goddamn toothbrush.
Your refrigerator is spying on you.
Your refrigerator is spying on you, and it's sending information about what you eat, drink, and when you do it, and everything else.
Everything.
Right? So the point I'm making is it starts with a little AI game. Then the next thing you know, it's the invisible, the tiny text no one reads when they buy their phone, their television, and everybody's, who's going to read 40 pages on a phone? And most, how many people even know what those words mean, for God's sakes? If you go to a court of law, you have to have a lawyer interpret that for you.
That's legalese language. That nomenclature, and that's actually probably the most basic form of it.
So my point is, okay, now it's your phone. Then it's your Alexa, then it's your refrigerator, then it's your new self-driving car. Well, next thing you know, every part of your life is now
non-autonomous and owned.
Not yours.
That's right.
So the question is, what are you going to do when they come for you and say you're ours? What are you going to do when you've got mRNA technology and you're no longer human and you don't even have ownership or rights to yourself, which is exactly what those contracts say.
100%.
So the next thing you know, you are nothing but a pig in a corporate farm, and they can take you to slaughter anyhow, anytime, in any way they want to, and sell the pieces.
Absolutely.
And that's the problem.
This is the perfect Ahrimanic Trojan horse fueled by the visual of a Luciferic complex.
This is hijacking.
Let's get you beautiful. Let's make you make you into this warrior.
Seduce you.
It's seduction.
It's hijacking your sovereignty.
Yeah.
It's hijacking your identity. It's hijacking your right to be human.
I'm disappointed in a lot of my peers. I'll be honest with this. I'm disappointed. I'm not judging them.
Well, you're probably sad for them. Is
I'm
what
sad. I am sad, and maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm, but I never found myself
Well, if you're
to
crazy,
be.
that makes me crazy.
If I'm crazy, you're 10x crazy.
So what Steiner said was that we have to go through the Ahrimanic phase for a specific spiritual reason. It's going to take us very deep into the material existence, and ultimately the result is the soul has to realize that it is not a material reality.
That's right.
And once we get deep enough and in enough pain, we will, one at a time or all of a sudden, wake up to realize that we have shackled ourselves to something that stops us from becoming who and what we really are, which is the spirit that animates the matter.
Yep.
And look what the World Economic Forum is saying. Get rid of the idea of the soul. Get rid of the idea of God. You're completely hackable. You have no free will. And we're going to prove it to you. You'll own nothing. You'll be happy, ... There you see the same thing. You'll own nothing and you'll be happy looking at your newly improved AI photo.
And you feel good about
and
yourself.
You'll feel good about yourself.
What Paul just said right there regarding the fruition of this coming to pass, this entire path of the Ahrimanic influence and mankind getting to this brink is very eloquent and exactly right. This tattoo I have right here is an ancient Farsi, and it is Asha speaking through, it's Ahura Mazda speaking through Asha. And it basically says your final level of illumination comes in the pitch black night.
Yeah.
In the darkest of nights.
Yeah.
And that is part of that Ahrimanic storytelling.
Yeah.
And that is what you can visualize right now. Picture you're in a room and there's a fire, and that fire is starting to dim. And every day it's getting dimmer and dimmer and dimmer to the point where it becomes absolutely pure darkness.
Yeah.
And it's in that darkness that we will rise.
That's the dark night of the soul.
That's the dark night of the soul. That's the phoenix. That is Ahura Mazda coming out and breaking through our soul's contracts. That's the Christ conscious.
Yeah.
That's all of those things. And that's almost like, Archangel Michael, right? And so getting into Michael a lot lately has really helped me, Paul. That's part of one of my meditations. I've been reading a lot of verses and understanding the relationship between that angelic being, and that's where we're at right now. That's helping me stand in my power and feel comfortable and not scared, because we're telling all these things. These are crazy things. These are crazy concepts, and people can their physiology can go into fight flight, and they can go into a cortisol spike. And right now it's not the time to go reach for things to nullify that, or to numb it out, or to forget about it, or go watch, something else. It's time to step into that and feel it.
Yeah.
Everyone viscerally feel what's happening, but don't let it damage you. Let it empower you.
Well, I think
that's why we care about our health.
Yeah.
That's why do you see how all of these things are aligned?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
There's not one without the other.
No. Yeah, I think the first thing to do is observe. Just watch. Look carefully at the people around you. What's the difference between the people that spend all their time in social media and eat junk food and don't live the kind of foundation principles we talk about? And how is that compared to the people that, get their hands dirty, garden, play with their kids, don't overuse social media, and actually live a life that's grounded in the elements that make life happen?
Hello, everybody. Well, I've been using Bioptimizer's Masszymes for a long time, and I can tell you firsthand they are absolutely excellent enzymes. But what blows my mind is that they have improved the formula, which I didn't even know was possible. So I've got Wade Lightheart here, co-founder of Bioptimizers. He's going to tell us what's unique about their new Masszyme formula, because I think this is one of the most important enzyme products there is out there. So Wade, How in the world did you improve what I thought was already the best enzymes out there?
Well, we have followed a philosophy best in class for a long time and constant and never improving. You can never always get to the ultimate level. There's always another nuance.
Yes.
And we formed a partnership some time ago with the Birch International University. And we have 15 PhD scientists in microbiome technology, one of the few supplement companies that actually do that. And we started testing various types of enzymes in different conditions, adding extra elements that could accelerate and potentiate the effectiveness of the enzymes inside the body. And it turns out we were able to create a number of breakthroughs, which we are filing patents for. But we've added those elements into, as well as tweaking the formulation and the relationship of 17 different enzymes that are already in there to produce a significantly better result. And we're going to be showing videos on this at the lab where we're actually seeing it break down the product in real time in laboratory conditions. And we're really excited because this is our fourth version. It's a flagship enzyme product. It's used all over the world by every different type of dietary practice you can imagine. And we've been able to improve it again, thanks to the scientific geniuses at the Birch International University.
I love it. I love it. I really love how you guys constantly work on making things better. Your leaky gut guardian is another example. You change that. You got another name on it now. What is that one called now?
Biome Breakthrough.
Biome Breakthrough. Like I'm always so impressed with how you guys keep improving. Where can people get their new formula for Masszymes?
All they have to do is go to masszymes.com/living4D, put in Paul10, they get a 10% discount on their first bottle, plus they can get extra discounts if they order more. Of course, you can stock up and get the savings. And as well, everything has its 365-day money-back guarantee. If it's not the best enzyme formulation you ever taken in your life, we'll happily refund your money. But most people find that they love and use this product on a daily basis.
I've never met a single person that wasn't happy with Bioptimizer's products. So it's masszymes.com/living4D, number 4, letter D, code Paul10. Enjoy the best enzymes there are out there. I use them literally every day to support my body, and I think you'll be amazed at how great they work for you.
As we close here, though, I want to kind of bring this Ahrimanic Luciferic concept into a bit of a balanced situation so people can really understand it. On the left side, just put Lucifer. On the right side, put Ahriman. And in the middle, put the word Christ. And what you have is the nature of the Tao. And you have these three forces. So Lucifer means bringer of the light, but it also means the creator of illusion. Like the illusion that I'm more successful, or that I'm more beautiful.
Or
that
more
I'm
worthy,
smarter.
more spiritual.
More successful. So there's the illusion.
And it's tied with the blood. And it's tied with fire.
Yes, it can be. But the anything that's in your mind is in your blood.
Right.
Then on the right side, you have the materialistic drive. Lucifer can have some benefits because the bringer of the light means to learn, to grow, to see new things.
That's right.
To explore.
That's right.
The Luciferic concept, because it's commonly associated with Satan and Christianity, is actually very confused.
That's right.
But Lucifer is also the explorer, the one that looks in the dark and finds new things and new ways of doing things. The secret is not to get trapped in it and not to use illusion to... It's one thing if you go on a journey, say maybe go up to British Columbia and go hunting, and you learn a lot and you see a white bear, which is very rare, and you come back and you tell your friends about a real journey. But if you go to British Columbia, but then you cop out and you sit in a coffee shop and you make up a story, that's a Luciferic expression of the real journey.
That's right.
Which would be like using an AI story to say, look where I was, but you weren't really there.
Fantasy.
That's
yes,
right. Very good.
Yeah.
So on the opposite side, you have the Ahrimanic impulse, which is to identify yourself in matter, my car, my house, my money, my status, look at all my things,
Yeah.
right?
And it's the calcification, it's the hardening of the
Yes.
body, sclerotic diseases.
Yes, it traps you.
That's right.
It's very...
You're very foundational and stuck.
You
You're
are
earth
stuck.
matter.
Yeah.
Earth matter.
Yeah, you become imprisoned in it.
And these are opposing forces that actually work. They bifurcate together.
Yeah.
They create that oscillation.
Yeah.
And we can't look at them as inherent evils. We just have to agree that they exist. That's the observer, right?
Yes.
Because there's moments where we tap into maybe a Luciferic impulse to move forward, to transcend ideas and concepts. And there's moments where we got to get our shit together and matters. It's
Yeah.
not to get lost into the deepening and reckoning of them. That's when you get sick.
These are aspects of the psyche. You could say the Luciferic force is the light of your eyes looking out to explore. The Ahrimanic force is like the bones and the teeth and the skeleton and your structure. And to show you how these two opposing forces actually work together, think about walking.
Yeah.
When you're walking, one leg's going forward and the other one's going backwards.
That's right.
So they're doing the opposite things, but somehow you're arriving at your destination. And if you say, well, I'm going to get rid of the right Ahrimanic leg, well, then you're not going to walk very well.
Well, then you're as busy as a one-legged, what was it?
And one-legged man in
An
an ass-kicking contest. Yeah.
Okay, that person's the Christ conscious.
Yes. Now, in the middle is this sense of self. My left and right leg may be going in opposite directions, but I'm going somewhere because I have a relationship to enjoy, or I have a class to get to, or I have
purpose.
I have love to share.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
So the Christ principle is ultimately the principle of unconditional love. It's
Yeah.
to see the beauty and the magic and the mystery of life, and to appreciate nature, and to see the vastness of the stars, and to look at the images coming from the James Webb telescope, and to realize, my God, it seems like the Earth is our home, but we're really part of a galaxy that's one of trillions of galaxies. I mean, the vastness of it all. So when you say, well, what's the potential for unconditional love to create the universe, is giving us a glimpse of the majesty of what we would call God.
Yes, sir.
And so
Yeah.
in the middle of it all, look, the stars shine. There's a Luciferic principle.
Yeah.
But we've got rocks and moons and asteroids. There's the Ahrimanic principle.
Yep.
So
Ahrimanic is to measure them and
Yeah.
to say this is what that is.
Yes,
And
exactly.
to classify it
Yeah.
as this.
It's
Moon is this far away.
Yeah.
The sun is this far away.
scientific materialism.
Very scientific materialism.
If it's not
Yeah.
wearable and measurable, it's not real.
Doesn't exist. That's exactly right.
The Luciferic principle says, well, let's keep looking.
That's right.
And-
Or we think it's there, so it has to be there.
And the Christ principle sits in the middle, just like an axle. It doesn't go anywhere, but without it, the wheel can't roll. So that's
Paul,
where our
that was-
center is.
That was very beautifully said.
But that's really what it
Christ's
is, right?
Impulse is the axle.
It's the axle.
Yeah.
It's the axle, and we spin around an axis at all time. But think of a merry-go-round. I'll give you an example. If you are on the outside of a merry-go-round, the faster I spin it, the harder it is to hang on.
That's right.
And that's what it's like to be caught in the centrifugal force of Ahriman and Lucifer driving your life at an accelerated pace.
Right.
But the amazing thing is, and this is why a legitimate spiritual practice and being grounded and having appreciation for the magic, mystery, and awe and the beauty of life is, if you go sit on the pole in the center of the merry-go-round, no matter how fast you make that thing spin, you can't make me fall off.
That's right, because that pole is grounded and it's rooted.
And its rotational axis is much slower.
That's right.
Right? That post might be 4 inches around.
Yeah.
Well, you take that 4 inches and then you go 8 feet away, and it's covering a lot of territory.
Which needs a lot more speed.
Right?
That's right.
Saturn
Yep.
takes a longer time to get around the sun than we do. In fact, every one of our years is 357 years, if I remember right, on Saturn.
If you believe that, but that's another conversation.
Well,
I love this conversation. This is really the observing of self is what is going to allow us to get into that deep, profound spiritual practice of the Christ impulse. You said it perfectly. Observe.
Yes.
See how your actions are. See your desires. See if you're getting too far on one end without thinking about the other end.
If you think of the analogy that the Christ principle is like the axle and that the other two are like the merry-go-round spinning, Or if you think of a Tai Chi symbol, yin and yang are constantly revolving around each other, creating all kinds of stuff. But anything that's rotating has an invisible center. And that center is stable, right? Just like the axle. And this is why meditation is so helpful. When you become aware that you're aware. We are a Homo sapien sapien, which means the ape that's aware that it's aware.
Of itself.
Aware that it's aware of itself,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So when we go into the center and we sit with a quiet mind, we can actually watch our thoughts. We can see where our addictions are at. We can see where our fetishes are at. We can see where we're bullshitting ourselves, where we're wasting time. Because if we align ourselves with the awareness that is behind our awareness, then we're in a very stable place and we can take stock and say, how is what I'm creating serving me? How is it serving my relationships? How is it serving the planet? I can look at myself as an individual. I can look at myself as a we, as relationships. I can look at myself as a participant in the whole. If you're in the Luciferic or the Ahrimanic, if you're in the Luciferic, you're staring at your AI photo. If you're in the Ahrimanic, then you identify yourself with your money, your matter, and your science degree, and you think that spirit is a bunch of bullshit. So, over here, Luciferic, you got Hollywood. Over here, you got Novel Harari.
Yeah.
And in the middle, you have awareness that a little bit of this and a little bit of that can make for a great life. But too much material existence and matter will trap you. You got to pay for it and it erodes. As soon as you start, you buy a new house and 5 years later, you got to fix shit.
Absolutely.
It starts to fall apart. And the next thing you know, you're going, oh my God, this costs so much money. You go over here and you build yourself a digital house and it's all beautiful, but it doesn't keep the rain off your head and doesn't keep you warm at night. And nobody recognizes you because you and your house are both digital AI. If you go in the middle and say, how can I enjoy my video games because I've given myself permission to have some fun now that I've done my chores, I've made some money, I've fed my family, and I'm a human. And over here, I can enjoy my house and I can enjoy the knowledge I gain from mathematics and science because it helps me contribute to the world. But you don't lose yourself in it. And that's the beauty of the Christ principle. It's very much the Tao. Not too much, not too little.
Yeah, neutrality across the board.
Yeah, just be honest with yourself. How much food is enough? How much food do you need so you're healthy and you're not undereating? How much sex is enough, but you're now not turning the other person into an object that you masturbate with? You're instead of making love.
Right.
How much money is enough? Money gets people in a lot of trouble.
Yes.
How much mushrooms is enough?
Yes.
Before you're escaping reality instead of having a look at what's under the hood and doing something about it.
That's right. Too much psychedelics and going too far on that end is highly Luciferic.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
No, this is a fantastic conversation because a lot of people ask me these questions. Well, how do I adapt this?
Yeah.
How do I train for this? And I think there's many outlines for that.
Yeah.
How to Know Higher Worlds explains that quite well. But again, at the end of the day, it's doing a due diligence on self.
Yeah.
And scanning your every action and every relationship and seeing how you're approaching it and what your desire is for all of them.
And the paradox of it is if you were asked to ask Lao Tzu what this is all about,
He'd say nothing.
no, the first thing he would do is he would say Lucifer and Ahriman are the Tao that can be spoken, but the eternal Tao cannot be spoken, and that's in the middle of that. It's actually called a mandorla. Mandorla.
Yeah.
It's in the middle of the mandorla.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's the eternal witness that is everything but isn't caught in any of it.
I love that. That resonates very well.
Thank you. That's
Yeah.
my simple Paul Chek mind taking all these crazy books and synthesizing them down to little Lao Tzu.
The Chekster strikes again.
Yeah, baby. So where can people find...
They know where they can find me. Come on.
Well, there's a lot of people that may not, so make it easy for them. They can find their AI real quick, but I want them to find a little bit of you.
Well, close your eyes, put your hand on your heart, and know that in the deepest, darkest nights, I'm there with you. That's the first place they can find me.
Can they use their Chek Living 4D podcast code to get a discount while they're holding their hand over their heart, finding you in their heart?
They sure can.
Can they?
I love supporting this podcast. I love supporting you and
Thank you.
everything that you're doing. We've been doing this is like 3 years now, and it's just what you give back, you get tenfold. And just knowing I'm supporting a lot of your listeners, I love the Chek people. They are soul family, so I'm here for all of them. Anyone listening to this, know that I don't just throw words out. I mean that to the bone.
Yes. He actually does a lot of legwork and travels all over the world looking for the best people making the best stuff, and does the work to make sure that what he's offering you is the real deal. And if it wasn't, you can trust me, I would not be selling it to you or offering it to you. I've vetted it for you. It goes into my body, and my body is my temple. It's my only place of worship that I know for sure I can go to every day.
I love that. And what I want to say is our customers stay with us.
Good.
That's a powerful identification of what we're doing.
Yes.
Our people stay with us, and the amount of feedback we get on a daily basis now is it's overwhelming.
And they don't have to sign a contract like the one you
No.
just read on your phone?
No, they don't. Wow, that was
All right.
full on.
Hey,
Hey, hold on.
Yes, sir.
Your true self is immaterial. Your conscious is ethereal. It pre-exists your body and transcends the material. Chekster, it's an honor to be here. I love rapping with you.
Me too. Thank you.
I love token bags with you, and
Yeah.
I love the Chek fam.
There's no pot in there, so don't think we're token pot, because
Yeah.
I'm not quite as good at Joe Rogan at podcasts yet. If I smoked pot on a podcast, we would be talking about everything under the sun, but you'd never know when I was shifting gears, and if I was painting, it would be very abstract.
Can you imagine Chekster lit up going abstract on a podcast?
Oh my God, one time I went and did a podcast with Mind Pump, and they thought they would surprise me with some pot, and I smoked this pot. I swear to God, it was as strong as LSD. I'm trying to have us podcast, and I'm like all over the frickin' place, and
THC is no joke. That's one of the strongest psychoactive compounds I've ever experienced.
Especially the way they breed pot these days. I mean, I didn't know where it come from. They were.
40%
I wasn't going to
THC.
sit there and give them a critical analysis on is this for laboratory grown. I just like they were being my friends and throwing some joy bones my way, and so I went for the ride. But I'll tell you what, that was a podcast where I was like, my mind was like on. It was like one of the angels guarding the heavens with wings going in every direction at once and swords and everything else, but it was fun. But I feel better with my tobacco. Helps me keep my mind nice and sharp and clean, and helps me write, and helps me be productive, and gives me a little joy. And the herbs are healthy. So
I ate a brownie once in Amsterdam.
Oh, yeah.
In 3 days, I was on my knees
That's
praying to God for it to end.
yeah, that's why Terrence McKenna says eating marijuana is a very real psychedelic experience.
My God.
He says, blast the shit out of yourself, go in the closet, close the door, and have an experience.
Maybe next life.
Yeah. I don't feel too attracted to plant medicine ceremonies with marijuana.
Yeah.
It's not a medicine that I love to paint with marijuana, but just enough to open the gates, but not enough to take the the motor skills out of my hands. Otherwise, I just look at that and go, okay, I'll give that to a kindergarten display.
Especially the genetics and the hybrids and all the stuff that they're doing today.
Well, for me, I never do that, but we all have our own medicine kit. You got to know what works for you and what doesn't.
Cannabis should be a reward, and
Yes.
there should be serious intention with it.
I
That's
think
my advice to everyone who comes to me for that.
That's
If you're
how
a-
I use it.
Yeah, if you're habitual smoking flower, number one, you're getting too much carbon in your body.
Yeah.
Number two, you're breaking up your auric field bioenergetically, and so it makes you lazy, makes you complacent. But there is a place for it as long as you have a serious intentional relationship with it.
Yeah.
Just like anything else, your food,
Mm-hmm.
your relationships,
Yeah.
you got to have intention with it.
Yeah. Thank you, and hope you guys caught the basic core principle of Lucifer, Ahriman, and Christ,
I'm going to have you pronounce it the Farsi style.
which is
Ahriman.
Ahriman.
There it is.
Ahriman.
If you say Ahriman 3 times, he might appear. So be careful.
Jafarieh.
Hey.
Hey, the lion. All right. Well, I love you guys. I hope you enjoyed our conversation, our dialogue, and our exploration of very real issues and the foundation principles that are really good to anchor ourselves in. I hope you're excited to know that there is ways to find real supplements that will help clean you, balance you, vitalize you, and nourish you and your family. And I hope you are enjoying this wild ride we're on as a collective. And we have to take a moment and pause and say, thank you, Mother Earth, for putting up with your teenage children that are unaware of what they're doing to their very home and to the source of life, love, and sustenance that allows us to be. And may we all awaken to your beauty and nourish you and care for you with love and respect. And thank you guys for anything you buy from the sponsors that supports the podcast, so I can take the time and do the work and cover the costs of the podcast team and keep sharing as many wise, intelligent people as I can with you for the betterment of all of us, including myself. I am still growing every day, still learning every day. And
Can I say one last thing?
you're going to give me another 10-syllable word?
Can everyone pray for the people of Iran today?
What's going on?
I don't know if you've known, but it's a big revolution happening in my country right now.
What's going on?
Well, a beautiful woman was killed by the police over there,
Oh,
and
that's terrible.
it's been they've been under a heavy oppression over the last 43 years. This is which was
Man.
why I was born here.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of things coming to a head in Iran. And
Yeah.
Iran is an ancient civilization. It's Persia.
Yeah.
And
It's got some of the most ancient sites in the world.
that's right. And I've never been able to go there. I've never been able to step foot there. But there's a lot of people suffering over there. And if everyone could put a prayer for the people of Iran, it would mean a lot to me.
Thank you, Great Spirit, for embracing the people of Iran and holding them in your heart. Thank you for also embracing all the lost souls in the world and helping them find love and support. May we all hold hands and circle the globe and make it a special place for everybody and protect all the little beings that give us life. Blessings to Iran. Blessings to the women of the world. And may God become a woman.
Oh.
We are safe. We are home. We are whole. Thank you, everybody. See you next time.
Thank you for listening to Living 4D with Paul Chek and today's guest, Chervin Jafarieh. You can follow him on Instagram at Chervin333 or at Cymbiotika. Cymbiotika can also be found on Facebook and YouTube at Cymbiotika and on Twitter and TikTok at Real Cymbiotika. As regular listeners will know, Cymbiotika is one of the sponsors of this podcast, and you can get 15% off a one-time purchase products by visiting Cymbiotika.com and using the discount code L4D15. So visit Cymbiotika.com and use the discount code capital L, the number 4, capital D, and the numbers 15 to get 15% off your one-time purchase. You can find Paul on Instagram and TikTok at paul.chek, on Twitter at paulchek, or on his YouTube podcast channel, youtube.com/living4d with Paul Chek. You can watch more on Paul's blog at paulcheksblog.com or visit the Chek Institute site at chekinstitute.com to find Paul's e-learning courses, advanced training programs, and to learn more about the Chek Academy. You can read the show notes and find links to the resources mentioned in this episode at chekinstitute.com/podcast. And finally, if you enjoyed today's episode, please consider leaving us a 5-star rating and a warm review at the top of the show page on Spotify or at the bottom of the show page if you are listening on Apple Podcast.